We're live.
We are? I'm like, we're live.
Oh, I'm so
Meaning, streaming, life and wifing with the Clown World cousins. My beautiful cousin Mary. Mary, I have to say, I thought of you today
Oh, yeah?
because I saw your celebrity doppelganger who's on a new show.
Oh, yeah?
The the lovely Christina Ricci um, plays a character in some show my kids were watching, Wednesday, based on Wednesday Addams, and you know that she played Wednesday back in the day. Well, now
Yeah.
she's some other she still looks fabulous. Oh, now we're live. I don't think we were live before.
Yeah, we were. Hold on one second. Go ahead, Faye. Do our intro.
Cleaning, streaming, life and wife, and a little bit of crying today. I just added that in. Some crying,
You
emotional
cried?
roller coasting. Hence
Uh,
my flowers of shame. Faye's being a psycho. Faye needs to calm down. So I was just telling Mary, I wasn't sure if we were live. I saw Mary's celebrity doppelganger, her celebrity lookalike, Christina Ricci. And like you, cuz, she looks fabulous. And
I
you know
looked
who
more like
she is?
her when I was younger, but
True. You look better
yeah.
now, but do you know, fun fact, you know who she dated?
No, who?
My man Owen Benjamin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
She always struck me as a little crazy.
Yeah, yeah. He's hinted at that. But like my dearest, like the love of my life says to most men that are looking for a woman, they're all crazy. You just gotta like they're crazy. It's true.
Yep.
And the world isn't helping.
Yeah, for sure. Right?
Uh,
I'm sorry. I have to shut off this light. It's just hold on. I know I had a rush at the end here. I just can't stand this light. I gotta shut it off. All right.
hair.
All
Oh
right.
boy. What a
Here we
what a
go.
great week. There you go. I like the plaid. You're in a different setting.
That's a tablecloth.
Oh, nice.
My background is a tablecloth that I literally pulled off my kitchen table and threw it
Uh-huh.
up behind me. Festive, half-assed, but festive.
I've got beer and wine. It's just like, I don't care. I told
I
Joe
gave
that.
up beer, as you
I give
know.
up. I know. This is Joe just got beers. Yeah,
Yeah, they're delicious. Enjoy it.
it's my one. I have to go to bed
Oh,
early. I have homework tomorrow. I have homework tomorrow all day on my Saturday.
homework.
Yeah, I can help my kids with their homework.
Oh, please.
Which basically means I need to sit down with my son and write line by line for both history and English. The good news is we're getting all A's, but Lena's doing it on her own. It is what it is. I mean, what the hell? I'm just
Mhm.
having a day. You can you can say, Faye, that enough is enough anytime. But we have a
Yeah.
plan to first. Let's talk. How was your Thanksgiving?
Everything's fine. Everything's
Um,
fine. I'm all disorganized in my own mind, so yeah, everything's fine. It's super. How about yours?
Cried all day today. Felt like a complete failure. Um, I've just been on edge. You just don't know what you're gonna wake up to. Someone said something to me that was like they didn't mean like go faster. Faye, you need to go faster when you do that. And I'm sure that they were probably like, Faye, like they were probably like really nice when they said it. But in my head, I heard, hey, old lady, you're not moving fast enough. Like, you know what I mean? And I've had
Yeah.
a very I've had a very thin skin lately. You know what I mean? Like I've been anything can set me off. And it was just downhill from there. And then I went to walk my two fancy schmancy poodles who I love and who I want their mom to adopt me. She's living the dream. Like she's beautiful. You can tell she grew up with money, but she's classy. Like she's so polite and you know what I mean? Like and her house is beautiful. She's got her two little babies and she's the nicest lady. And she's always like reading and to her little she's got a 3-year-old and a newborn, which is why I'm there to walk the dogs. And I just want to snuggle up with them on the couch. And I just want to like,
Mm.
can you adopt me, lady? She's a
Yeah.
one she's a wonderful mother. I'm loving it. So that put me in a
Oh,
good mood. Yeah.
well, that's good. So, you want to get into it?
We've got a plan.
We don't have an outline, but we have a
That's
plan.
well, we have something we wanna talk about. Something I don't know, like, I hope this can stay up, and I have to watch my mouth because 'cause I'm a little on edge tonight, you know?
Yeah.
It might be besides, we can't even say the word, but pedo, child, sex, what we're talking about tonight, it might be the most evil thing on earth.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
So, how did it all start? How did we even go down this rabbit hole is what I was trying to think of. And like it all started with that Death of a Tomboy video, right? That you sent me. I don't know why my camera keeps going out of focus. Um,
Are you
that
a
Death of
little
a
on edge
Tomboy.
too?
I'm in the crappiest mood. All right.
She's
So don't
like,
mess with
you know what the giveaway was? She's like, "It's fine. Thanksgiving was fine. Everything is fine." Let's see how we do tonight.
Yeah. So
Take a
anyway,
deep
so the
breath.
death
Everybody, let's take a deep breath. Helps.
no, I'm not no, I'm not doing that. Anyway, the death of the tomboy. And so I was listening to it, and it's almost like how the gender like kind of role for women has gotten so messed up as far as like our femininity and stuff. So there's like two choices. Well, now there's really only one choice for a woman to express herself as far as superficially in order to like come across as feminine, and that's kind of like the slutty
Over
like
sexualized.
oh
Yeah, and of
yeah,
course, that's like with drag queens and stuff. They're always
hold on you
over the top, over
yes, but
sexualized.
the other thing that like back in the day when we were growing up, there were tomboys. They weren't, gender confused, non-binary. They weren't all these things. It was a female who wasn't into all makeup, jewelry,
Playing with
fashion.
playing with baby dolls, playing with
Yeah,
Barbie dolls. She wanted to play, like, with the boys, and she liked sports. Yeah, it was just a tomboy. My niece
yeah.
is
Well,
a
I don't even
tomboy.
think that you would have to like hang out more with boys even. It's just
Yeah,
you woke up in the morning, you put on some freaking clothes, you were active, you and like for me in high school, I didn't have like a fashion. I wasn't one of those. I played lacrosse, girls lacrosse, I will say. I was swimming, but that's pretty neutral. Softball, like I was athletic and all my friends were girls. I didn't hang out with boys, but at the same time, it's like I don't even think I wore makeup until I reached middle age, like on a regular basis. So that kind of brought us down the road of all these men who are dressing up like women and they're over the top. Like
mhm,
they're a caricature. They're a
yeah,
caricature of what they think a woman is because they're not women. They can't even conceptualize that like yeah, you know what? A woman sometimes just wears like sweatpants and a t-shirt and her hair in a low ponytail.
mhm,
You know?
yeah. Well, that's not the most evil thing. I was saying the most evil thing is the trans agenda for children, but we're
Right,
gonna
but
get to
I
that.
thought
That's
see, this is
connected.
why we need an outline. We have
Yeah,
to slow walk it, Faye. You wanna get
yeah.
right to the dinner? No, dessert. Faye's
That's
serving
what
dessert.
Joe says. Joe always says I try to serve dessert before dinner. I just want to I want to hey, Satanists rule the world. What? Okay, bye. What else is there? I mean,
Right.
for lack of a better word, or people that whatever they are.
Yeah, so it all started back in the day when we would be like, "You know what? Whatever you do in your bedroom, leave me out of it." That's the way it should be, when you're adults. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
Even heterosexual couples, I'm not interested. Like,
Mhm.
leave me alone. I don't wanna hear that.
Yeah.
But then it came out of the bedroom. It started marching down streets, half dressed, family events, and now we're at a whole new level
We're at a
where
whole new level where we're destroying children's bodies irreversibly and irreparably, and I think it's pretty safe that they're coming after the kids. It's a fact, and I just don't, um my sister, I hope she calls in tonight because she's actually been researching, I don't even know what you would call it, like that, just like the adults that went through this and they're coming out now saying this ruined my life. This destroyed my life. My body's destroyed, my mind's destroyed. I'm rebuilding my life. And how doctors won't there's no support from doctors or the medical community. So we're all over the place. Go ahead.
Um, well, okay, so when my daughter I told this story probably about 4 times now, so let's make it nice 5 times. When my daughter was in kindergarten, she was, there with a cross-dressing little boy, named Eddie, and so my daughter was in kindergarten, what, 10 10 years ago. So that means that that little boy is now my daughter's age, and the agenda at that point, even though it was still new, it was probably about like 10 years old. So yeah, that now all these children that were abused by not only their own parents, but also a system that allowed these things are now coming into adulthood, and a lot of them are detransitioning. And
That's the word, detransitioning. Yes.
yeah, and the group that they are, used to belong to turn against them. Like I
Yeah.
saw this one and it was a woman who transitioned. She went on hormone blockers when she was very young, started taking steroids, and in her mind, she had an idea of who she would be as a man. So she went ahead with it, and now this woman is about 22 years old. She's balding because that's no, like women forget that, like, yeah, men start balding if they have too much
Mhm.
testosterone, or I don't know, their testosterone's out of whack. But anyway, she's balding. Her voice sounds like it's stuck in a like like a boy going through puberty. So now she's in this hellish limbo of I got the worst things of being a man, I got the worst parts of being a woman. So she's trying to detransition, and the group there are on her TikTok telling her to go kill herself, calling her a traitor because she chose this wasn't the path for me. I'm not happy. And so, yeah, they're pretty toxic, but I mean, the things I've come across just this week, like the children, like there's this one who's an adult, but Dylan Mulvaney, have you heard of him, Faye?
No.
Oh my gosh. The joy of girlhood. And he identifies it as a girl, not a woman, a girl.
How old
And
is how old is he?
too
I
damn
will.
old to be acting this way, in his 20s, I'm sure. And he's probably the biggest troll, I think, to women. He's got to be a troll. It can't possibly be real. So this dude is up here. He's like, day one of being a girl. Okay, you heard that right. Day one. This dude who started his TikTok journey like 2 years ago, probably gets invited to speak at women's conferences on what it is to be a woman after 2 years, uh like an ambassador or something, some special interest group person who goes to the White House and speaks to the president on women related issues. And there's
Oh
like a TikTok
god.
of him like playing with a tampon and being like, oh, oh yeah, like you're not a woman.
Stop.
On all
He's
my honesty.
he's really going to the White House and he's really like being, well, this is it's so I'm not gonna get upset because what else is new? Oh my God. Like, yeah, there is I Joe says that I get mad at men a lot lately. Not him, but men in general. What did I say to you? I'm sick of circle jerk truther roundtables. Like it's like just a bunch of men sitting around talking. No offense to them. I love them all and I wish them all the best. But like I'm getting kind of, and like I know that they can't help it. And I'm sweeping with a broad brush. And I don't mean to. Men don't understand women, okay? And we are really up against it. And I'm not gonna like insert myself places where I don't belong. But our daughters are really up against it. You're right. We were talking about this a couple of weeks back, and can I retract something? Not retract, but I just want to clarify something I said because I am in a bubble in my relationship. We've been together for over 20 years. And I kind of was like saying like, well, the guy has to like make sure that she's like good enough for him if he's gonna marry her, like kind of test her out. Let me tell you something. The two relationships I know of that broke up over physical reasons, physical compatibility, were because the men were duds. So maybe the woman needs to test him out. Okay, that's all I'm saying. So I'm not. Women are up against it, and this whole men playing sports and you're right. It's like women as a caricature. Your sister said it best. She's like, Faye, I was never a feminist. She's like, but I'm so goddamn sick of it. She's like a new kind of feminist, just being like, you have no idea what it's like to wake up and to have your period. Do you know what I mean? And to have a baby and to like to be on an emotional roller coaster of a 28-day cycle. It's it's insulting. To say the
Yeah.
least. To say the very least, it's insulting.
Hold on. Yeah, Mel. We are gonna get there. Again, I don't know what the hell's wrong with my camera. Whatever. Should I just shut it off? Is it distracting that I keep
No,
going
you
in and
look
out of
great.
focus?
I wish I could do that to mine. I'm not having a very good day.
Just get
I
a
almost
really crappy camera. Whatever. Anyway, it's not that important. So even though up here, young love, she's like, leave the babies alone. Okay, but it's also an attack. It's an attack on men in masculinity, it's an attack on women. Once you get into the child aspect, though, that's where it becomes
yeah.
like insanely perverse. It's like I can be insulted. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to sit here as a woman and I'm just going to be like, "Ah, I'm so insulted." But once
Yeah.
you involve all these children and over sexualize them, for one, that's one of the huge things that is part of the agenda in this is you know, going to basically burlesque shows, and the children are throwing dollar bills up there, and then the children are encouraged to walk the runway with the person. I don't want to call out any one group because I think drag is an art. I'm sorry, I'll probably get my ass kicked for that, but
Mhm.
whatever. It's a
I went
weird
to a
fetish
drag
thing,
show.
and
I went to a
go ahead.
drag show with a couple girlfriends a long time ago, and we were adults, and it was a blast.
I
It
knew
was
straight
so fun. Yeah,
straight drag queens. I knew
yeah.
straight drag queens. They just, one night a week would put on their, because they knew it wasn't they were their own group. It wasn't like I'm trying to be a woman. It's
Mhm.
like it is. They knew it was like this showman caricature, and it became its own entity. But now it's like what we grew up with drag has totally changed. It's changed into groomers involving children, fetishes, a lot of weird crap.
It's mental illness. It's the celebration of mental illness. We had a couple images that we were hoping to show tonight that are all related. I don't if you can't show them, we could just talk about them.
Yeah,
It's
just
fine.
I don't know. I think that maybe we might have to talk about them. My husband tried to set me up with the screen sharing, and
It's fine.
I'm
The
nervous
first
about it. I'm not great with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead and name one. Maybe it's gonna be an easy one. I have the
Well, I just went into a business and there was a sign on the wall and it just said something of like the no big deal campaign. My pronouns are no big deal. And it's like, first of all, when you call a person a they or a them, that's like are you possessed? I mean, who am I talking to? Like how many who are you? Like how many are you of them? I can't, I'm not participating in that. You're not that important. I never drive around thinking like, "Oh, I can't wait for people to like I'm going to make people call me different pronouns." So this is it right there. So it is a big deal. But it's a big deal because you're asking me to participate in your mental illness, right?
mhm.
Well, this is it. You're showing it. So it
Yeah.
says my person I can't read it.
My pronoun is a big deal to me. Using it doesn't need to
Right.
be a big deal for you. But now we're to the point where they're making up pronouns.
Mhm.
It's Mike, I don't know how to get out of this.
Sharing at the top.
Hold on.
Stop sharing.
Oh yeah. There we go.
That was on a wall at a business I saw, so I had to snap a picture. It is a big asking me to lie. I said in a previous stream that they're forcing us to bear false witness to live in the society, but they're forcing us to be mentally ill.
Mhm.
Which goes along with another image I wanted to show that I took this week, and it was about the New York City mayor. And believe me, guys, I'm not afraid of it. I whatever, like, boo, I'm so scared, you freaking psychopaths. But New York City mayor, and they of course they show him wearing a diaper on his face, will be involuntarily putting the mentally ill. There it is. The New York City on treatment of mentally ill, and it says the New York City will hospitalize mentally ill people involuntarily. As this psycho if is wearing this in a fake ass like it's not even real. It's not even real, and he's wearing that. He's crazy for wearing it, okay? And now he's gonna hospitalize people um involuntarily. Okay, so they're forcing you to participate in mental illness, but now the narrative is starting that they're gonna involuntarily, and then it goes back to like, with Grabbled history. Remember, like all those stories of insane asylums. Remember
Yep.
those huge, like like castles that were just insane asylums. Come and get me, sedate me. I'm done. I'm done. Today I was driving my car. I was like, God, just obliterate me. I can't with this anymore. I mean, whatever. I'm not
Yeah.
afraid of these people, but I don't. What we're living in. Okay, now I feel like is manifestation real because that was one of my lines I used to always say way before 2020. I would always say we're raising children in a mental institution. We're raising children in a mental institution. Well, Faye, get your popcorn, buckle your seatbelt because, as my dad said before he died, it's gonna get more and more bizarre. So go
Yeah.
ahead, Mary. Your take,
No,
please.
let me see if I can grab this other thing. Okay. These were you're talking about politicians and
Oh,
the wackadoodles. This whole thing is just wackadoodles. So this guy, he actually works at the White House. I hope I don't get in trouble for this
I
because I
think
am.
I think this guy's CGI. I don't even think he's a real guy. But
Yeah.
the story is that he works for the White House.
Mhm. Can
Oh
you
my
see that?
god. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Look at
Stop.
that beautiful outfit. So
Ah.
pretty.
He's an official with the White House. So whether
I
he's a
don't
real person or CGI or not, this thing is an official with the White House.
I don't think
Oh,
you can hear it, can you? When I screen share, you can't hear it. Anyway, it says he's head of advocacy and government affairs, okay, and the Trevor Project.
oh my
Ugh.
god. He's mentally ill. These people are going to start deciding who's mentally ill. No, 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 no. Go ahead.
Yeah, he loves pronouns. His pronouns are very important.
Yeah. Oh,
They and them, Faye. He uses they and them
He's possessed. He's
as,
telling you he's possessed. Oh, look at that thing.
oh, enough. I can't.
I can't either. Show the picture that I wanted you to screenshot. Do you have that one? Well, I can get it. I can get it. I can show you on my phone. Oh my god, this is like the definition of putting lipstick on a pig. Hold on. Let me go to our text history, Mary. Unbelievable.
We are legion. Exactly. We are
We are
legion.
legion. Who said that?
I don't know who was the first one. Joe says possessed.
Whoever said we are legion just hit the nail on the
We
head.
are legion. I guess it was Mike who was the first.
Fluffy Maine Coon.
But everybody's
Really?
saying it. Like,
But it's so true.
he
Like
apparently has a spanking fetish. Mel, he also has a bestiality fetish. He
oh my
likes to
god.
dress as a woman. He stole a Vera Bradley bag.
Yeah.
That whole story was insane. You can't really see him.
It's just he's so gross. Like, oh. Look at the shape of his head. I think he's CGI. He's got to be CGI. You can't really see it.
Yeah, he might be on hormones.
Oh,
That would become like
he needs
softer.
to go away. He needs mental help. There really is mental illness, but we're living in a society that's celebrating mental illness and to our children, you know. And oh my god, I just this is where I get tongue tied. I really do. I wish my sister would call in.
Oh, you're tongue tied? Okay. Yeah, it's like, again, if this was just like his private life,
Yeah.
it's like, all right. Even though at that point, once you're like simulating bestiality,
Ugh.
I'm not a big fan of thinking. I
It's
think that's a form of
oh,
animal abuse, but
ugh. You
you
think?
know,
Oh my god.
yeah, I know. And it's like, oh yeah, that's one of my fetishes. And it's just, it's men dressed up as dogs. It's like, is it though? Is it?
I told you in like I said in one text, I think that the food is definitely making Americans obese. Again, I know that I can sound harsh against fat people, and I'm sorry. Believe me, I struggle with my weight too. And there's something in our food. Food doesn't do what happens to people here. It doesn't do that, but I think it's making us crazy too. It's probably a combination of everything, but like craziness. No, you don't think it's a spiritual thing? What do you think?
I think it's a spiritual thing. I spent some time this week looking into generational spirits, and I went all the way back to the forgotten generation, which was the adults during like the Great Depression,
Yeah.
all the way to now, and they're calling this the babies being born now, or the very young children now, are the sixth generation. And
Spell that
what
out.
happened?
Six as in
Six,
six.
number six. So
Oh,
it's like, I see Wheels is here. Hold on one sec, Wheels.
wheels.
So we
I
have
didn't know wheels were
the Great
coming.
Depression ones, then the Greatest Generation, the Boomers, the Gen Xers and Gen Yers, and so now we're into this. The sixth one is this generation being born now, and if you follow the trend, even with the so-called greatest generation who raised the baby boomers, everything has just become more and more debaucherous. The spirit of the age has
Mm.
become so extreme. Like, if you think about
It's so
back,
hyper. Yeah.
yeah, if you think about back during World War II, and that's where people like premarital sex really became normalized, because you're going off to war one last time. I don't want to die a virgin.
Yeah.
So it all became normalized, and that's the generation that raised the baby boomers and their whole, like, again, the next stage, free
Mm.
love. And by free love, it was just essentially like sex with no consequence, because all that. So anyway, I could go on and on about that, but anyway, hey, Wheels.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hi,
Good.
wheels.
So I had some thoughts that I'd like to potentially share if they might add anything. Also, another thing, just real quick, the generation that is being born now is actually not Gen Z, it's Gen Alpha, which is interesting because I want you to think about this for a second. X, Y, Z. Z is the end of the alphabet. So technically, they could be the last generation before Gen Alpha born into the new technocratic era.
Mm. Wow. Yeah, great point.
So there's that. And then another thought that I actually had yesterday morning before I went to work. Do you remember how, like a year or two ago, everyone was talking about the new normal, the new normal, the new normal? It
Yeah.
kind it kind of
Oh, that's
hit me. It kind of hit me that I think when we were talking about the new normal and we were thinking about the diapers and all that other stuff, I think we were taking it too literally.
Okay, elaborate. I love it.
So, what I mean by that is I think that when we were thinking about the new normal, we only thought about that stuff. We weren't thinking about what else a new normal could mean. Like because when I think of the new normal now, I think of, the constant feeling of the constant tension, the tension
Mm.
that's become normal. Like we all sit here and we all are watching and thinking, "Oh my god, what are they going to pull next? What are they going to throw on us next? What's going to be normalized next? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that?" And we all are just sitting here just bated breath waiting for what's next.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So that tension, that fear that we could suddenly lose everything, that's the new normal.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the
I
new normal that suddenly some mainstay of society, something we've always had, something we've always known can be ripped away from us tomorrow.
Mm. That reminds me a lot of I'm not sure if you guys follow like prepping videos and stuff, but remember we were supposed to run out of diesel by Thanksgiving and everybody was like frantic. And then there was going to be a railroad strike and everybody's frantic. It's like I think people are that's one way people are kind of processing that like at any minute now it's all going to just be ripped apart and nothing's ever going to be the same again. You know?
Mhm.
Does that make sense or no?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
but meanwhile, I feel like I have PTSD from all of this. My husband can attest. Yeah, I have good days and I have bad days. Like what they were able to pull off, like you're so right, Wheels. It's like the precedent that has been set. You know what I mean? Now that I see what is actually possible, like what it's I definitely have PTSD from it, and that is I don't like it. It's I don't know. I know I'm trying to it's hard to find the words, but what you just said really, really,
Oh.
really makes sense, Wheels.
Wheels,
What?
I want to read you this comment that my
Yeah,
husband left.
I'm reading it on the stream now, but
Oh, you can
definitely read
see
it
it.
out loud.
That's interesting. Z would be the omega, and then we have the alpha, a reversal of the alpha and the omega.
That's also a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these things though, they've been kind of rattling around my brain recently. I was going to say something about the whole new normal thing, but I haven't had time yet. But it's just I've just been sitting here like really thinking about that and processing it because like you know the 2010s, the 2000s, the 9/11 truth, like all that kind of stuff, all of that stuff. That's we were not during those times. We weren't necessarily looking at what was happening in the moment. We were looking at what was going to happen and what was coming, and
Yes.
now we're in what was coming, and we don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah.
So it's just like it was like one of those things I think I said in my last like stream where it's just like people don't like even the truth community doesn't know what to do anymore. So people
Yeah.
are just kind of grabbing on to anything familiar because everything has changed so much, and we're
Yes.
just kind of all reeling and collectively grieving all of this, crazy that's been going on. So now I've just been sitting here kind of looking back at some of the things that I was saying like a year or 2 years ago, thinking, how did I miss this? How did I miss that it wasn't necessarily this new normal? It was this one. It was this one this whole time. Because think about
Yes.
also what was set, what other precedent was set when we were dealing with that new normal. It was also that at any moment, information, not even just our way of life, but information can change. Like, you remember how instead of being like, "Hey, just get the sniffles and get it over with," like all of us did. I don't know about you, but we played with the kids with the flu, and we were just like, okay, if we get the flu, we get the flu, and we have the
Sure.
immunity to it. That's what everyone did. We get colds, we get flu, and we were happy when we got it over with in early in the season.
Yeah,
And then
I in my generation, there would be chicken pox parties. You'd go if somebody had a kid had the chicken pox, everybody would go to their house in order that their kids got chicken pox to get the immunity. And this was pre, jab for that, where all of a sudden it's like the most deadly thing you can ever have beside this new thing. So yeah, I totally get where you're coming from there. Go ahead.
sorry, I was taking a sip of something.
All right.
Um yeah. So there's that stuff. So everything with that new thing with the the mind killer here, um there was this whole precedent set of like, okay, everything that we knew about immunity and how to deal with illness and everything else was thrown out. So now instead of using your immune system, now you have to basically throw out the immune system and you do the opposite of everything that you ever learned about being ill.
Yeah.
It's just like everything, just any second, all of our information that we know that we're allowed to know could suddenly just turn around like that in a
I
snap.
I was
That
talking to
is
my mother
amazing.
about this today. I cried a lot today, and I'm not embarrassed to say it. I have my good days and bad days. Today was a very bad day, and I called my mother instead of my husband because sometimes you need your mommy. And I knew that in March 2020 that they were lying. I hadn't watched the news in 8 years, and I turned on the TV, and I couldn't believe people were listening to these creatures. That I couldn't believe it. It took me a few days, though, maybe a few weeks, or maybe even a month or so to realize that we were in World War III, and it was a psychological war. But now I realize that what it's not, it's more than just the medical stuff. That's all true. But what it was is the social contract was completely broken. The fabric of society was completely broken. They're trying, and I guess in a lot of ways they've tried to redefine what a human being is. And I guess that's why I argue with God a lot. And I'm so upset about this. Like climate change, the climate change lie is the lie that God didn't create the world right, correct. That is flawed. God doesn't know what he's doing. The COVID lie of March 2020 is a lie that God didn't create us right. And
Mhm.
it's
And we
monumental.
need and we need man to correct God
Hmm.
by giving us these things that change fundamentally how our, well, at least they were sold to do something about the immunity. Actually, at the time I was still living with my parents in 2020. And I'll never forget it. There was this one day where I just straight up I came I I came into the living room to see my mom just glued to the TV and parroting everything the TV was saying to us, to the point where me and my siblings sat down and basically staged an intervention.
Really?
We were like, and my siblings were actually seeming like they were starting to wake up, and I think they kind of went back to sleep.
A
But
lot of people have, but hold on.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the fact that, yeah, a lot of people, even truthers, have gone back to their comfort, their safe space, I guess, of
Sure.
what we used to know 10 years ago. But there was another thing that you were saying, oh, about how information, what we know as fact today, can change tomorrow. It can change overnight. And we literally witnessed that. And it reminds me not so much of Newspeak, but it's like, what would that be? Anyway.
well, there's also double
Oh,
think where you
you
hold.
said that?
Quoted 1984.
Oh, 1984. All right. My husband just came up, but
Yeah,
yeah.
double
All right, go
think.
ahead,
That
sorry.
whole I hate even saying this word, but social distancing. It's a spell and it's double think. And that's when though you can't be social and you can't be distant. And they still have the stickers on the ground. It's so creepy to me. But sorry, go ahead, Mary and Wheels.
Sorry, I was on mute. I had to talk to my husband about something going on in the household. But yeah, it's really bizarre. There is it's I hate to repeat, who is it? I think it was KJ and also Days of Noah who talk about the post-truth world. And
Yeah.
they mean a lot by that, but it's also like fact is no longer fact. Anything can change. Everything, and it's funny because we're also very educated right now. So what happens when all of a sudden you don't know anything? Even though I would argue they don't know anything to begin with, but you know, it anyway. I don't
I agree. I was like I said, walking my spoiled poodles today in a beautiful neighborhood where everyone had a 3-car garage and landscapers, and I'm walking 2 standard beautiful poodles. I'm not a poodle girl, but these 2 girls are, they'll make you like a poodle. They were very good girls. But anyway, this beautiful neighborhood, and I'm being over in the sky is being, cobwebbed above me. And I'm looking at these beautiful homes, and I'm not a materialistic person, but I'm like, no one here cares about the crap I care about. They're just doing their thing and they're happy, I guess. I don't know. But I think that you're right, Mary. And so those are the normies that never cared, but even truthers are going back. And I think a lot of people, I think that what Wheels kind of hinted at is people don't know what to do. There's a lot of talking, myself included. I'm guilty of this. No one knows what to do. Everyone's like, get your vibe high, focus on yourself. I agree with that. But our kids are going to be enslaved.
I do want to show you this, Faye, going back to something else you said about, this is my town paper. All right. And I got it today. This was the third thing I wanted to touch on real quick before we move on. A View from the Hill, it's called, and it's a picture of our high school up here, a breath of fresh air.
Oh,
okay. That's the title.
God.
No. That's the title. I read this article because I was like, oh, a breath of fresh air. Yes, please. Literally, there are students in here who are saying how traumatized it. Let's see. There's like, where's this one guy? I feel like it affected me the most. Like all these students that were freshmen when this whole thing happened are now seniors. These children are traumatized.
Yeah.
I read this article. I have no idea what the fresh air is. What is it?
Really? That's interesting.
Yes. I mean,
You'll
they
have
have
to,
quotes of
I want
all
to read
these
that
young
article.
people.
So you're saying that the title of the article is A Breath of Fresh Air for for your town's high school, the one you went to?
This is the town that I live in now.
Okay.
Okay.
And so but then it's all kids talk, literally crying for help, saying how traumatized they are.
Exactly.
Kids
Exactly.
are
The whole
crying.
thing. And it's
Go
called
ahead.
A Breath of
amazing.
Fresh Air.
That's amazing, and that is just,
Heartbreak.
there's just a quick thought that I had about that too. It's like, how corrupt have we gotten as a society that even our local papers are taunting us? Like, think about it. A breath
Mm.
of fresh air. How is that not a taunt? How is that not a taunt? You literally took our right to breathe away, and now you're calling
Wheels.
articles breath of fresh air. Miss me with that, bro.
Dude, Wheels, amazing. I not to I'm just sorry, Mary, didn't I say to you about Wheels? Because you've been posting a lot, and please keep giving us content, Wheels. I love your streams. Didn't I said he's never said anything I disagree with. And and that's the truth. You're
I'm
smart.
disappointed in myself,
Smart.
Wheels, that I didn't see the word play,
I
the
didn't see it.
trolling wordplay in it. I was
I
just like,
I
wait,
thought
where's go ahead.
I thought that you were gonna say, "Faye, look at a breath of fresh air," and like the picture was gonna have all chemis in the sky, and that would have been a good troll. But he's so
Well,
right.
that too, because I
Yeah,
was gonna bring up the chemtrails, but I was even thinking about just the immediate thought that I had is like, really, breath of fresh air. Oh, like, when is the last time? Like, look at how many people still refuse to breathe the fresh air, as if aluminum air is fresh to begin with. Like, I
and
just
they've trained these kids, Wheels. It's so tragic. Just like they've changed the fabric. They've changed the fabric and social contract. I work at a little doggy daycare. I love it, and so a lot of it's outdoors. But the two youngest employees, they always have the mask around their necks. As soon as they go inside, it's back on. They have just been, and it's tragic. They're kind of like docilely type people, but they're very, 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 very nice, very passionate about dogs, But I'm not in any place to say anything. It's talk about mental institution. It's crazy. They're young, they're healthy, and the second they see like a door to go indoors, that thing goes over their face, probably for the rest of their lives, Wheels,
yeah,
unless they're home or something.
it's goofy because we like we're basically being trained into OCD.
Mm.
I want you to think about that, and just getting to a point where you have to constantly obsessively check, oh, am I clean, am I wearing this right, am I doing this right, oh god, does the CDC approve of the way I'm cooking my food? Like, I'm not I'm not
You
kidding
remember
about
the
that.
troll too? Sorry to
Yeah, you're
interrupt.
not exaggerating. Yeah.
Wheels, do you remember the troll? I have a new phone now, but my picture when I used to always show even my normie friends is health experts. And like they were trolling us with the people that work for the CDCs. They looked like gremlins. And they were wasn't one of them like a fat guy in a dress who was like the
Oh,
health
Yeah,
speaking of
in
yes,
Canada.
Oh my
yep.
god.
Anyway, hold on, back to the OCD, and they're training people to have OCD. Um,
Yeah, I want you to consider something. I think also it's gonna we're gonna see, I think, a lot more OCD tendencies in our society, and I'm gonna tell you why. There's the masks. There's obviously, the stereotypical, oh, cleanliness, oh, am I safe from germs at OCD, but I'm not talking about that. That's the surface level. What I'm thinking about is what happens when somebody is gaslit so much they can't trust anything in their mind, they can't trust their own senses. It starts to look like OCD. It starts
they
to,
used to call it neuroses,
yeah,
actually. Yeah, yeah.
you'll get to a point where, like, you'll be like, "Oh, did they really say that?" And then you have and then with the constant contradictions, not only do you get people constantly feeling like they need to check themselves because they don't even know what they think is true anymore, but also you have the other side of it, which is the media contradicts itself so much that people just cling to one statement or another, and they'll parrot it for months and months and months.
Oh yeah.
because they cling so hard to it, because that's just the easy, out of the two contradictions, that's the easier one to believe.
And also, Wheels, with the media doing that, which I've also noticed, it's like, wait, yesterday you were saying something different. It's almost it proves, I think, what is that? It's not cognitive dissonance. What is it? Where you just pretend you didn't hear what, because like let's say you go on a trusted news site, right? And they say something you agree with. You're going to parrot that narrative. But then the next day, they say something you don't agree with, which in fact contradicts what they had said yesterday. And you just completely and totally pretend that didn't happen. And there's no going back and reflecting, like, wait, yesterday they said something different. So now I have to use my own ability to think and figure out, what do I think? What do you know? What do I know about the situation? What is my own personal conclusion? People don't do that, which
Yeah,
they
no,
should.
they
They're being set up to do that.
yeah, they don't. And then another thing is, I feel like with the whole experiment of the past few years, they've really shown their cards in a blatant way. Because they've like just flat out shown you how exactly they're manipulating people. You know, with with the contradictions, with the do this, do that. You could get most people, at least during 2020, 2021, if they came out tomorrow and was like, you need to
Sorry.
hop on one foot, because if you do that, it lowers the surface that you could put it on, or something like that. People would have done that.
Yeah.
Like, so with the contradictions and stuff, instead of actually like getting to a point where they are looking at themselves, they just, like you said, they just fall in line with whatever. And I think with this, if you really looked at how things actually went, it was like they showed all of their psychological manipulation cards, because like we've been telling people that these things have existed for years and years and years, and suddenly it just became so blatantly obvious that only the people that really wanted to stay asleep were like ignoring it at that point. And so that's why, if you've noticed in my streams and stuff, a lot I do bring up the events of the last 2 years, because I because it is the most recent and blatant example, and everybody was there to see it. There was no, oh, it's this obscure event that happened, I don't know, in Ontario, Canada, or in California or whatever. It's something that happened everywhere. Everyone was shown the same set of cards, and we all had to look at it.
I agree. I'm not ready to move on. I
I will never forget it, and I will never let anyone else forget it. And I think also, with the whole, going back to what I said about the new normal, I think because everyone took it so literally, truthers included, because everyone took it so literally and looked only at what was obviously in front of us a lot of the time, a lot of people think that they defeated this new normal. And they, because, you know, we were given the illusion that we stood up enough to the um
I completely agree. That's I don't, and I know I don't know what to do either, but I think a lot of people think that just sitting back and crushing at life, and that's gonna get it. We're crushing. It's like, no, 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 no. This is going down in the history books. Our children are defined as a disease. Like this week, we make the baby boomers look like the best parents that ever lived. You know how I feel, Mary? Like we can't just sit, we can't just talk our way. I don't know what to do. I'm not sitting here being like, we're gonna do it, but we can't. I don't know, Wheels. What do you think? I mean, I guess
so
I listened to your stream about, like, you really have to change from within. That's all we really can do. But go ahead.
yeah, we can't, at this point we can only live by example, and we can only spend our time, like we can, you know, be like, look at the sky, look at this, look at that. Hey, does that look different to you? Does that look right to you? And I don't like, and I get when I point at the sky and I make my friends look, I get called a conspiracy theorist.
You have
All the,
friends? I'm so jealous.
I
Not
know.
really. I
there
don't
are,
have any
Are they
friends.
related to you?
Yeah.
My only friends are my cousins and my
I'm
sisters.
Right?
But go ahead.
I try to be friendly with people, even though I some days, and I actually ranted to Mary a little bit the other night. I think I messaged you on Discord. I was like, dude, I have hit my limit with the people that are friggin' sheep around here.
Yeah.
I hit like something happened at work, and I'm like, and I was just I came home like freaking sheeple.
I know.
Uh,
Oh, and it's so hard. And Faye, I gave him good advice. I sent him "This Is the World We Live In" by The Killers. That was my
ooh,
that
turn it
was
up.
my advice.
Yeah, The
Oh,
Killers is good. The Killers, like not their stuff. Like most great bands, their best stuff is on their albums, not on the radio. You know what I mean?
for
And that's a
Yeah.
sure.
great
But
song.
yeah, it's let's I don't know. We're in a crazy time. I mean, so
Mhm.
we started
Great.
out talking about this whole like we'll call it the trans agenda. And then we're going back like to that agenda. And you know what? It's the children. It's the young people. Not
Yes,
even you
all
don't
the
even have to be a
children.
child. It's young people. It's like in Wheels, I know you're a young person. I'm past my formative years where I feel like, I'm going to take on the world and I'm past all of that. Now I'm at the age where I'm just kind of an observer and I've already reached a lot of like morally I'm pretty much fully developed. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not immoral sometimes, but you know what I mean? Like I know what my ethics are at this stage in
Mhm.
life. And it's got to be so difficult for young adults and young people trying to navigate this. And I don't
It does get difficult for me because I will say as a younger person, I do not have I do not hang around with people my age. I don't have any I don't really know anyone my own age. I don't have friends of my own age, and even at I have observed that there are plenty of people your guys' age and older who do not have a developed sense of morality. They don't know their own ethics. They don't know. And it's gotten to the point where I've had to have conversations with people almost twice my age explaining why basic things are wrong or why I'm just like, are you telling me that you don't realize why this is unethical?
Oh, that is so true. That's that's our
Like,
fame, my peers you're
I
talking about.
literally, yeah, and I literally, like, sometimes I will be talking to someone in their 40s about why, about things that I think should be basic ethics, and I'll be sitting here having this conversation, like, as if I'm talking to a child, feeling like like mentally banging my head against the wall because I'm like, how in adulthood could you possibly that be that ignorant? How this far in adulthood do you not realize that legality is not morality? How in this point in your in your adulthood can you seriously look at the faces of people that are being harmed and try to tell me why that is not that bad?
I loved your I forget his name, but the guy that you had on, he was
Oh,
talking
Brandon
about
Brandon.
Spencer.
yeah, that was it for anyone that doesn't know Hell on Wheels, please follow his channel. It was a great stream. I loved that one. And yeah, morality. I mean, I'm a sinner and I make mistakes all the time, but my conscience hasn't been seared with a hot iron. And I feel that looking around, some people have. I see people do things without a blink in the eye. They just, I don't know. I agree with you. I don't really get into these. I don't have any friends anymore. I really don't. And that's part of the reason I was like kind of like, what am I doing? Like I
I
went to
try to, because
yeah.
I try really hard to to be there for people in my community. I'm not just doing my channel and things online. I'm actively working to try to make my community better, cuz all I
That's
can really do
awesome.
in my small corner of the world is I can't do anything about the big picture federally or whatever, even state level, but I can, if I
Thank you
see
for
something going on in my community, I can try to do something about it.
Do you want to tell us about a little bit what you're doing, or do you not feel like
So
talking?
I guess I can share some of it. I have so I work helping, homeless and mentally ill people. I spend a lot of my time doing that. I also have helped some senior citizens who wanted to get some people who were awake. I helped them who are not those who are not technically literate to be able to use phones and stuff like that. I help old people. I help people with just anybody in my community. I just and if I see like a law being passed in my own town that I don't agree with, you know, I help get some dissent going. Or I work with people who do. Like there are, you know, I maybe it's because I'm younger, but I am not going to give up and comply with evil.
I love
And
it.
when I see people being mistreated, when I see people who are struggling, who are homeless, who are whatever, I help them. I give I give anything extra. I do my best, and I'm not perfect, so please don't take this as I'm thinking I'm perfect or something.
You're
But like
trying. You're
I'm at
trying.
least
Yeah.
when I see a lot of I've had someone ask me before, like how like why I make the decisions I do in life, and it's really the fact that when I see a need that I have the means to fill, I try to work out how to fill it, even if it's just going into a store and buying someone who's hungry a sandwich or some trail mix. Like everything that you do in your daily life does affect things, even if it's just a little. So if we all can just get our own selves together and make a difference in our community instead of like, because even back 2 years, a year or two ago, I was talking about this a little bit on my streams about like I think the one I did, like it was called "Where Do We Go From Here" or something like that. I was talking about this exact thing back then, like this whole thing of like, well, how are we gonna do anything about this if we don't like look within ourselves and figure out what else we could be talking about and doing. Like I just I just try in my life to figure out where the needs are in my own community, because it all starts at home.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Mary and I are
Um,
mothers. It's
that's what I was about to say.
yeah.
It's like,
See, you're
yep.
doing your part too though, because you're raising children with morals. You're raising children with ethics. And then Faye, I know you send your kids to school. So
I
those
they
kids,
they just went back wheels. You know that I homeschooled them during this whole thing.
yeah, but
I
here's
never
the
sent my kids to school like this.
but here's my thought
But
too.
you know
You're
that, right?
sending them, yeah, I do.
He
You're
Okay.
knows that
sending
thing.
them
No, that's
you're
very
sending them
important to
there.
me.
I
What?
know.
But they're
You're
back.
sending them there and you're raising them with morals and ethics.
They are.
And
My
then they're
son,
being sent to a school where there's
you
maybe
don't
not a lot of kids that like that. So maybe those kids will
true.
see how your kids are growing up, and they will be like, huh,
So
phase kids
totally.
kind
They
of
Yeah.
they
have.
are interested in my kids, at least my Dorian. My daughter, but the poor thing never had a phone, so she's a little shyer. So the only reason they went back, Wheels, is because my son is a junior, my daughter's a freshman. If they were littles, it wouldn't even be on the table, okay? But 2 years home with me, it's like get out of the house. My son, I'm proud of him. He just made varsity basketball. And he's living the dream high school style, and I'm hoping that he can have some normalcy for a little while. But then again, it's like practices 5 nights a week and weekends. It's like, tell me that's not by design to get into the family, but he's going to
Oh,
do
for
great.
sure it is.
Totally, it's too much, but we're still
Yeah,
going to have dinner as a family. We
but
still
that's
will. I'm determined.
but I honestly think it is the right choice for us to try to integrate without necessarily
Yes.
losing our principles. It is good for us to interact with the community
You
because
have
I
to.
yeah, that and when even when our words don't really get people thinking. Our words might not be what gets people thinking. It is our actions. It is the fact that they see us, our attitudes, the way we carry ourselves through life. That is what gets people thinking about what we believe and what we have to say. If you're just telling people, hey,
Right.
it's all a conspiracy and we're screwed, and you're not doing things in your community and you're not like interacting with people and treating them with the love of Christ, how do you expect them to want to see what you're talking about?
Yeah. I'd love maybe some night. I would like to get into it. I've always tried to do the right thing. I've always tried, like I've always worked since I was 14, and I do try to do the right thing. I have a conscience. I make mistakes, but I own up to them. But for me, and probably I don't know if it's just like a me thing, I always get crapped on, Wheels. And is that just like because of the type of people we are? Is that just par for the course? I'm always,
Well,
yeah.
it's it's you got to remember the devil exists.
Yeah.
The devil exists, so he might. You got to remember also that his attacks only get stronger when we start doing the right things. But we
Mm,
cannot let them outweigh the blessings we're given. So
right.
whenever something bad comes up in my life, I count my blessings. And
Mm,
I try not to focus on the bad things. And unfortunately, sometimes the bad things do need some focus, but I do try to just know that sometimes I am going to get attacked, be it by people, be it by circumstances, be it by whatever, because I recognize that the devil is who has the most power on earth right now.
yeah. You can
And
say
as
that
long
again.
as and as long as you're doing good things, there's always going to be temptation and there's always going to be pushback from him.
Always. And like today was just, I don't know. I keep, I'm very into like, I think men and women are very different. Women are roller coasters and we have days. And today was one of those days. Wheels, I don't know. I'm sure men have it too, but like I can literally I felt the heaviness of the world. Like they say, like the weight of the world's on your shoulder. Like I feel it like in my neck and everything. And I'm sure tomorrow I'll wake up and it will be a new day. So, do guys get that? Like, are you guys on a roller coaster too?
What the hell is happening to this live?
I I have
Wheels, now tell me.
Wheels and I are having a heart to heart.
what were you gonna ask, Mary?
What? No, I said, what the hell is happening to this live? Now it's turning into Faye being like, men, right?
Yeah, I am probably gonna hop off soon though. Uh like I don't know. I think it varies person to person. Some people just need a few minutes to process what's going on after something happens. Some people might just need to be like deep breaths for a day. It just depends on how we're able to process what's going on, and we do need to learn to process things and respond to them if if we're going to be able to deal with the enemy. We also have to know that the enemy is going to play with our emotions, and he knows all of our buttons. So we have to figure out how to cope with those emotions when they come up, because that's another thing is if you need a day to deal, if you're having a day, Faye, that's fine. You just have to have your day, process your emotions, because obviously they're coming up for a reason. God did not give us emotions to ignore them. See, if you're gonna have a day, or I'm gonna need an hour or whatever, then I need to have that time, process my emotions so that they cannot be used against me later as a weapon of the enemy.
Mm,
Because
I feel ya.
if we don't deal with our emotions, they do become weapons of the enemy.
It's in,
Or at
and
least
I'm not.
that's my thought about it. I'm definitely not a counselor, so don't, take my
Oh, yeah, you're giving me
words.
Well, it's funny because we're all in a mental institution, as we were saying.
Yeah,
It's just stuff.
I used to call America an open air psychiatric institution, and now
It
I regret it.
is.
Now I regret it because
I
now it's gotten so crazy that I can't get away from that description that I gave it
Wheels,
back.
I don't know if you were listening earlier. That used to be like one of my lines, like before all this. I'd be like, we're raising kids in a mental institution. And this is like back before when it was quote unquote normal. And it's like, I regret saying that. So we were both saying, we were both like calling it out. And now we're like, what the hell did we say? Like, what did we?
I was listening earlier, and I thought about the whole could we really manifest this? And if we are manifesting it, is constantly talking about what's going to happen the rest of this decade in the 2030s really a good thing?
Right.
Because I do think we also have a little bit of hope. And so I want to, before I leave, I want to leave you with this. I want to leave you with the fact that things probably haven't gotten as bad as the people in power hoped they would yet. And I'm going to give you one example of of one way that I would have expected it to be worse by now. Do you remember back in the 2010s when Alexa and Google Home and all of that stuff was everywhere, and they were giving them away like candy? You bought something at a store, you got a Google Home or an Alexa.
Yeah.
And then you remember also that like I think it was like Eric Schmidt or something said that it was we were supposed to get to a point where with the era of voice computing, somebody could ask one of those assistants a question and they would just give them the one correct answer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with them not catching on the way that I think the people in power were hoping they would, that's going to be a little bit harder to sell to people. The one correct answer is a little harder to sell people. Now, granted, they've still paired Google and Bing and all these things. They pared the search results down still. But they
Yeah.
can't get away with the one true answer the way that they were hoping to now, because too much stuff came out about what the implications of those little assistants sitting in your home really were. And I think
People
that
don't
they
care
were.
about the implications of anything, though, Wheels.
Yeah, but I just want you to think. I get that they don't. And believe
Yeah.
me, Mary, I share your frustration, because I think you and I have had talks about this before, where we've just gotten so frustrated at the way that people, I was going to say think, but they don't think. They
No,
just
I think
don't
you
think.
said it perfectly earlier. They just parrot back something that they heard that they agree with, even though it could be contradicted by the same source the very next day. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, there was
So you
actually,
were ending on a high note.
yeah. Actually, just to get
Thanks, Mary.
one more thing. There was actually also some taunting of truthers, I think, during that time. Because do you remember how, once in a while a study would come out that says, oh, these masks or these this or these that are not as effective as we thought they would be. And then we would start talking about it, and then they would immediately retract it. So then our sheeple friends would be like, well, they had to pull that study and apologize. So just stop bringing it up because it's a bad study
Yeah.
now. And yeah, so there was like they were I think messing with truthers on a different level with that as well, because there was stuff like that. And then do you remember in the very beginning of that whole psyop, the whole death narrative of that was made more to appeal to truthers and conspiracy theorists. They wanted people to latch onto the conspiracy part of it, so that even the people that are awake would consider it more deadly than it is.
Okay, are you talking about its origins? And that's when they
Yeah,
got.
well,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that, and then also not just the origins, but the videos. You know how they had those videos of people falling asleep in their soup
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
stuff
yeah.
Oh,
like
they were
that.
so trolling
And
us.
then they were being like, oh well, it's getting pulled off social media and they don't want us to see it. We
Yep,
need
yep,
to
yep,
do
yep. I
something.
remember.
They wanted the people that were awake to be like, oh my god, we need to do something, it's going to kill everyone. And they wanted people that are asleep to do the same thing. So they wanted to get everyone onto this whole collective consciousness. And when they couldn't quite do that, they started taunting the people that were not willing to fall into their little consciousness.
They were taunting us. Wheels, and I love
So
I'm sorry, but like on your streams, you call it, I love when you talk about Donald Trump, because my dad, God rest his soul, he loved the man, and it was the biggest bone, it was the biggest cause of contention between he and I before he passed. All good natured, very like, Dad, what are you doing? The guy can't stand you, if he's even a real guy. So Wheels, when you talk about Donald, like, you see him as I do, and I love, he did flirt. He just took the truth community just to the brink. And so I thought of you, Wheels, because I don't know if you've, like, I don't read the news or anything, but sometimes when I'm scrolling, you see the headlines. I feel like they're making him extra orange.
No. He's always been that
no,
orange.
he
No,
has
I'm
always
saying
been that orange, bro.
it's like he's
But
extra. It's like someone is taking a highlighter over him. He's extra orange. But go ahead. He's so bad.
He's always
yeah.
been that orange.
No,
It is-
he has. But
Yeah,
but
Wheels, I was going to ask you just real quick. What do you
Mhm.
think? Okay, so you talked about videos coming out, right?
Aw,
Of a certain region of the world. What do you think of
yeah.
the new videos coming out of that region? I'm having a hard time because now, because of what we've already been through with, those videos of people dropping dead in the street,
Oh,
I'm
those videos.
I'm so suspicious
Oh,
of.
I know you're
Yeah,
asking
no,
Wheels,
they're
but I
they're
want to give
like
my opinion too. Go ahead,
protesting,
Wheels.
and there was an apartment fire, but everybody was welded in. And Wheels, I mean, guys, what are we looking at here?
Wheels, you go
So
first. You're the guest.
there's a couple of different ways that you can look at that. My immediate thought would be also to bring up more of the tension. Because like I said, the new normal is the tension of, oh my god, what are they going to pull next? And just like in the beginning of the last thing, we were all looking at that region of the world. Were we not? We were all like, when this whole thing started, that's where everyone's eyes were glued. Just like, oh my god, do you see the videos coming out of there? Do you see the videos coming out of there?
Fake
So,
videos. I knew. So go
yeah.
ahead.
So
Yeah.
what if? So it could be one of two things, or it could be both. What if it's the fact that like they want to keep people tense and thinking that, oh my god, it could come back to the West at any time, or or they're just softening us up to the idea of that. But I think also, I think before they can really do that again, I think they might be wanting to work on their virtual reality stuff a little bit more,
Mm.
because that's where this goes. Uploading your consciousness, and
Mhm.
that's where it goes. But I also was seeing that in 6 months, Musk's little chip is going to be ready for human trials.
Mhm.
I saw that too.
So I was having that thought, but I'm just thinking that they are definitely keeping that in our consciousness. They are trying very hard, and even if people are turning a deaf ear, which I think more and more
They're-
people are turning a deaf ear to what our media is saying about the little bug, but like they want to keep that bug and the idea of big scary illnesses in our minds at all times,
Yeah,
as
Right.
much as
meanwhile,
they can.
cancer, and more people, cancer's off the charts. People are literally dropping dead out of nowhere. I don't know if you saw that little expose over there on Rumble that Joe sent me
I
from his
haven't
husband.
yet.
Oh, it's
Can
just,
I
it's nothing you don't already know.
Can I
But
tell you what I think about the
yeah, please.
protest over in that place? So while I was listening to everything Wheels say, agree as usual, and I'm not blowing smoke, Wheels. You're one of the few people that I can't think of a time I haven't agreed with you. But I was looking through all my subscriptions, and I have a really fun subscription. It's really light, and it's all in Chinese letters, and it's really, his name is Dewang, and he's just this beautiful, really fat Malamute that lives in China, and he has a YouTube channel, and he's right in between Jason Starr and Dan the Waterman. There's my subscriptions, and he's this Chinese Malamute, and I'm subscribed
Is
to
he a
him.
dog or a
He's a
Malamute? Is it?
dog. He's a dog. Yes, Mary, come on, get with
That's
it.
what
I
I
know.
thought. Oh, I'm sorry.
I know.
I thought maybe it was like some
So
like
I
subculture.
subscribe to a Chinese YouTube dog. This is my point. I've been subscribed to him for years, and basically, I can't understand a word they're saying. They live in a Chinese village. I couldn't even tell you where it is, but it's in China, and I've never seen one of these ever in their Chinese village. That's
That's
numero uno.
interesting, because weren't they
Numero
making
uno.
them wear them inside? And
No,
I hate to
no.
cut, and I hate to kind of cut you, or
Okay.
I said supposedly, but I hate to cut you off though. I do have to get going.
All right,
Okay.
Wheels.
Wheels, thank you so
Bye.
much for coming, and please post again. I can't wait for your streams. Everyone subscribe.
All right, thank you. I'm
All right,
glad
have a
that
good
you
night.
guys have been enjoying me feeling more
much.
up to putting up content recently.
Keep
I'll
going.
see
We
ya.
love it.
Wheels.
All right,
Bye.
bye, Wheels.
Bye, Wheels.
Bye.
So I'm gonna I've subscribed to this dog in this random Chinese village. I've never ever seen one of these. Not only do I never ever see one of these, I've never even seen one on the ground. Okay, so back to the recent protests.
Yeah.
I don't watch a lot of news, but I did see some video. The first video I saw, Mary, looked a little real, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you can't fake that emotion, and this is why, Mary. None of them were wearing this. They were all barefaced, and they were very, very upset. I don't know what happened, what it was, but then I watched a couple other videos after, and then in the so-called protests, all the people protesting are wearing that. So those looked completely fake to me. So there was that one little trickly video where I was like, oh, those are Chinese people's faces, and they weren't wearing it. And I'm telling you, I have this random YouTube video of this dog in China that lives he's so cute. So I watch him, and in this village, I've never even seen one. So what are your thoughts after Wheels and I went? Go ahead.
As I said before, I'm conflicted. I don't know if I can trust it. That's all. The only conclusion I have is I'm having trust issues
Yeah.
with what I see online, especially
Yeah.
after what we've just been through. So,
Right.
all right, listen, I've done way too much research on all these weirdos and their sexual fetishes not to finish that.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the so it's funny because when Wheels was talking, because of the research that I've done, I'm thinking about the confusion of the young people, the traumatized young people in my town paper and
Oh,
all this kind of stuff. And I was thinking earlier this week, do you remember how stressful it was as a young person when somebody would say to you, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" Do you
yeah.
remember that? Okay, now these people are asking children, even younger, how do you identify? I mean, I was in elementary, middle, and high school when the question of what do you want to do when you grow up started getting posed to me. I have literally sat in my room trying to figure out, wait, how do I identify? I'm a married, straight, female mother. How do I identify?
And you're white. You're white. At least you
I
know.
I don't
I hate
I
colors.
I still don't
Whenever
know.
on I all this identification, like for my students, for my kids when I was putting them back into school because I'm so lazy and they're back. But you know what? They're better. They for now they're better off. But anyway, so they want to know their race. So I just put human
No,
race.
Wheels, I was kidding. Hold on. I do have to say thank you, Wheels. You're always up here, and Mary's Mama Mary's always a little down here, but I love listening to you. I always learn something.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so
So
much for coming on, Wheels.
thank you, Wheels.
He's so ahead of his time. I wish. Can you imagine being that smart at his age? Like I'm not that
I
smart
can't
now.
imagine being that smart at my age.
That's what I'm
But go
saying. Yeah, he's so good. He's good. He's doing his volunteer work, making me feel like a big flop, but that's okay, Wheels. You keep doing it. It's good.
All
We're
right, go ahead.
mothers.
Go ahead. Sorry.
When they're really into like categorizing what color you're in, how you're identifying now.
Yeah.
Um, Thankfully, none of the paperwork when I was with re-enrolling my children mentioned pronouns. They haven't added that to the paperwork yet, but in Massachusetts, I was actually a little surprised that they didn't ask about like it was just like, are they male or female? It's still there in Massachusetts paperwork. So
Okay.
I have a boy, check. I have a girl, but then they want but still the old one that has always bothered me. Where are you from? And there's like the first column says white, and then it has like all these other ethnicities. So I always just put on the side human.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
think
I
I'm
will
really
say,
funny when
okay,
I
so I have two stories. Personal story, not personal, but secondhand stories of people very close to me on this whole identifying.
oh, I just got a funny text.
Go ahead.
Mary is not white. She's Black Irish.
Ha, who said that?
My mother.
Oh.
I wish I
Yeah,
was
but
Black
that's not the
Irish.
question.
The Black
Uh,
Irish are the best looking ones. Go ahead. It's true.
auntie, auntie, how do I identify is the
Yeah.
question. I mean, it's insanity. Like again, I already gave you all my like credentials, I guess, or the who I am,
Okay, so
but
you
how do
said
I identify?
mother, woman. How do I identify?
I'm
This is like it's
heterosexual. I
no one
forgot to add
cares.
that I'm also
Mary, you have
monoamorous.
8 kids.
Hold
You have 8
on.
kids. You don't have to tell us you're heterosexual. I think we
No, no,
know.
no, but I'm also monoamorous, okay? Because now there's this whole polyamorous. But okay, so I'm monoamorous. But like, how do I identify? What is my label? And this ties into two stories that I have on a sticky note to remind me to tell you.
Ooh,
All right.
sticky notes, Mary sticky notes.
Okay, the first one is my friend's daughter goes to a public school, a public middle school, and she is a typical person. I'm just going to call her a typical person. Some days she feels like wearing Doc Martens, ornate tights, short skirt, you know, her hair done a certain way. She'll go to school. The kids will be like, "Wait, what are you punk?" Then the next day she'll go wearing just jeans and a sweatshirt, her hair down. they'll be like, wait, now what are you? What are you? So they asked her, they were like, who do you have a crush on in the school? And she's like, I don't have a crush on anybody. All right. Maybe they're all just a bunch of losers and she's not feeling it. All right. So they're like, oh, are you gay? She's like, no. They said they're not asexual. I forget the other one. They kept making her try to self-label. Now, this is a child in middle school. All right. All she knows is that some days she might look emo, some days she might look anime, and another day she might look goth. It's no big deal. In fact, tonight, before I went on, I had my hair in like a low ponytail. My daughter came up and she was like, oh, are you something now? I forget what it was, but it was like basically like another label. It's like, what? No, what are all these labels that were
It's
expected?
go ahead. It's narcissism. Like I can't I've never really thought about like I can be pretty self-centered. I admit it. I'm the oldest. We've talked about this, Mary. You're the youngest, I'm the oldest. And the oldest has the beauty of like having the mom all to yourself for a while. You know what I mean? You're like, the oldest. We've
Yeah.
talked about it. I truly believe that all oldest children have at least a little bit of narcissism. Okay,
Self-centeredness. No, a little
self-centeredness. I
self-centeredness,
can
not
admit it. I can
narcissism.
admit it. I'm in my own world. I'm sorry, but I
I just
never,
think human
in
beings.
my wildest dreams, like sit around thinking about what am I? How do I identify? How do I want the world to see me? Like, I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know why, like, it's not being put down. Like, I
Uh,
do think that
Another
we're
one.
I'm not going to say like, oh, you're not important. Like, just shut up and don't think about yourself. Like, you are important.
No, we think
But
about ourselves. This is the human experience. We do think about ourselves all the time. You and I think about things like these people. What are they doing? They're making me lose my frigging mind. Don't they see? And we're using like a lot of critical thinking, a lot of facts are being pulled in when we're like, this is making me feel like crap. But these other people, the only way that they feel like crap is if they don't have all these like labels. I could not stand living under the construct of labels. Okay. I am a mother. I can't change that. I am married. I'm not gonna change that. All right. Another story.
okay,
My
okay.
my niece, she's an adult niece. She works at a store and she anyway, I'm not going to give too much of her personal bio, but I did ask my sister's permission to share this story and my niece's permission and they said, "Yeah, please go right ahead." So, the way that my niece is, she is a fashionista, but not Instagram fashionista. She's very retro. She knows how to mix
She's a
retro.
lot. She's a lot like her mama, and I
Yeah,
love that about her.
retro
She's a lot like
fashion
her
with
mama.
modern fashion. She does practice again modesty, but she never looks frumpy. She always she looks like something out of a 1960s magazine, but yet at the same time she has this modern spin on it. Every time I
Mhm.
see her, miraculously her hair is different. Like sometimes I'll see her hair's like down to here, another time I'll see her it's really short and
Mary, that's how I feel about your hair. She gets she gets it from her auntie Mary. I love it.
so she's at work and she's working the counter and at this I don't know what she also has like a bull's ring, the bull's ring in her nose and
Not a fan, but that's okay. Yeah.
she
And
it doesn't
but
even
as long as it's not one of those things that like makes your ear
oh
bigger,
a
bigger,
gear. No,
that
she
can't
she
be on
doesn't
her.
have gears. I don't mind things like that. I just think that's easy self-expression. That's what we call old school self-expression. But
Sure.
so she's at work and a coworker was talking to a third person there and referred to my her niece as them they. And my niece turns and she goes, I'm not them they. And she was like horrified. And the other girl, she's like, oh, how do you identify? she's like, she, her? And she goes, oh, like she was disappointed. And
Disappointed.
my niece was like, well, thanks for just totally gendering or mislabeling my pronouns. Like, isn't that like a huge sin in this culture to
Right.
mispronoun
Not
somebody?
for not if you're like traditional in any
And not if
way.
your pronouns are she and her.
Yeah.
Exactly. So there's this huge thing with these young people. And we also, I mean, I wanted to talk about Munchausen by proxy and these loser mothers who are pushing their children into being sexually exploited by grown ass men dressed as women. But I think we're out of time, sister. Are we out of time?
Ceiling Fan Man's off tonight, and I miss him. Shout out to
Oh,
Ceiling Fan Man's so sweet. You know what? He's so sweet to us. Our little channel. He
I
called us
know.
beautiful. He called us beautiful. You know what? I need to hear that. That was so sweet.
That's only because my camera's always out of focus. It's
You know
like,
what? When you get
Faye
like such
always looks fabulous and Mary's always out of focus. They're both beautiful. God bless them.
very, very, very sweet, but he's so sweet. He's not on. I'm not in a rush. I can talk a little bit more. I mean, I've had a day.
All
I mean,
right.
but if you want to
I
go,
do want to talk about Mel. What is it called? Bell oh crap. Bull that stupid fashion brand that Kim Kardashian sells.
Balenciaga.
Valencia.
Oh, Balencia? Is it Balencia or Balenciaga? I just found out
Valencia.
about this.
Hold on.
I
Yeah, it
literally,
would be
I
Balenciaga.
literally just found out about this today. And now that I just did this with my hand, guys, some people say that's a Mandela effect, that our thumbs aren't where they're supposed to be. Like they're further down. Yeah. Like they used to
My
be.
man hands.
No, we both, well,
What?
it runs in the family. But like our thumbs used to like come out up here. Forget it. That's okay.
What?
That's easy. We're gonna, yeah.
I don't know. I don't care. Again, I'm not staring at myself that much. I'm too busy being like, wait, what? What's going on out here?
So
Like,
I just heard about the Balenciaga thing today. It's all the usual suspects. They're so disgusting, all of them. Balenciaga.
no,
But
no, no.
go ahead.
It again is the normalization of child abuse.
Mm,
When
it
did
is.
children no longer become worth protecting? When did that happen? When dressing up a child's teddy bear in, what is it, BDSM, when did that become normal? A child being photographed on a couch with all this like wine glasses and alcohol,
I didn't see it.
especially post Epstein. Why is it?
Well, if Wheels was here, I don't want to speak for him, but I'm just kind of thinking like Wheels because we had the privilege of having him on. It's just a troll with the whole
It's not a troll.
island thing. It's like, oh, the island thing kind of went away and he allegedly killed himself and that was a story. But here's a big fashion magazine doing it right in front of your face. And Kim Kardashian, the big fake plastic butt lady, is involved. She's awful.
Yeah,
That was
yes.
there's a few moments when the world jumped the shark. Once we started putting plastic in our asses, I was like, this is idiocracy. This is bad.
You know what? Honestly, I'm so immature that when I think she was in Playboy and she had like that sack halfway, halfway up her legs. I do look into these things, Faye, and with her giant ass hanging out, and I had to laugh. I was like, now this is over the top. You know what I mean?
They are I don't want okay, so I'm gonna tell you what something fun to do if you're bored and you're having a few drinks and there's nothing to watch. One night I was bored and I forget what I decided to watch the first 5 minutes of the Kardashians because I had
no,
every
thank you.
season. No, Mary. I was drinking. I didn't get
Yeah.
very far, but it's just like, yeah, let's sit at this table. Yeah. yeah. Really? Yeah. Really? I watched for like this show's been on for years. I just like for like research purposes, I watched like the first 2 to 5 minutes for seasons. Yeah. You coming over, Kim? Where's mom? Like, it's like this is what people and but the funniest part, Mary, is that with every year they got more like plastic and like balloonish. Now the oldest one, she's unrecognizable. They're all unrecognizable, but the oldest one, she looks so weird. But then you
Well,
think about like,
actually, I will say that I was watching a cosmetic surgery. Close my door. Thank you. I hear the kids yelling. Cosmetic surgery and
where's my phone? Mommy's busy. Yeah.
their
I love
look,
that.
guys, is almost out. All right.
Yeah.
So like their whole like big eyes, huge cheekbones.
The
Yeah,
lips.
yeah.
Crazy lips.
That's going away from more of a doll face look, which I'm sorry, I'm just in actually the whole cosmetic surgery thing is kind of giving way for a more natural beauty, which is great. I mean, we need to get back to that, right? No?
Dude. No, I mean, I'm just having a day where, like, I almost did this with the camera off. It's not easy aging as a woman. I don't care. I'll be honest about it. You know, my daughter's so beautiful, and they say you have 4 daughters, so they say that your girls steal your looks. So you still look good. I just look at my daughter. I'm like, honey, enjoy it. And
That was harsh.
I said you have 4 daughters, but you still
You
look
said they
so.
say your daughter steal your looks. You have one and I have four.
Well,
So, therefore,
that
your looks have only been stolen once, and mine have been stolen 4 times.
yeah, but you're married to an attorney. I'm not. So like, I wasn't with you at that facial appointment. So like,
Child, my eyes are still a little swollen.
you look
I don't know
good.
if
You
you
look good. And I love my husband. It's okay. It like looks we all need to get over the looks thing, but it's harder for women as like,
It's
if we're not
vanity. It's
it
of
is.
course. We see that all through the Old Testament, which, it's a cautionary tale. Women love vanity. We love it. We love controlling our husbands and being vain as hell. All
Yeah.
right?
And
So,
maybe that's why it's so hard to grow old because of what you just said. We love being vain as hell, and I don't like to control my husband, but I mean, we wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't have the psycho fly. Like he wasn't looking for a roommate on Craigslist. It is what it is.
oh
Like,
Lord.
it's hard.
Yeah.
But my daughter had my back today. My beautiful daughter, and she's gorgeous. Your daughter, like, she's like. I was like doing my makeup and I'm like, that's it. I'm just like gonna shut the camera off tonight. I don't even care. Why do I bother? And Joe's like, Faye, you're beautiful. Lena's like, Daddy, all women do this all the time. She's like this, she knows at her age it's a girl thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, how do we get back to that?
Well, hold on,
Because
back to the
we're talking-
Kardashians and
oh,
that whole
because we were
aesthetic.
talking about the
That's the drag
Kardashians. That'll do it every time.
That's the
Sorry. Go
drag
ahead.
queen aesthetic, and I feel like it became really popular in order because it's
Yeah.
all very cosmetic. It's all very cosmetic procedure, and men that are on hormones, they inevitably go under the knife to get these cosmetic procedures, and it was a way that they could be hiding in plain sight. I
Yeah.
believe that's conspiratorial, but I'm a conspiracy
Right.
theorist.
I'm a conspiracy. You know who I think I think that Kendall Jenner. Kendall was born male. And then that's just my opinion.
She's the best looking of the 3.
She's the quote unquote supermodel. And when I look at her,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and we're living in such a trolly, like in your face time that there's been moments where they almost make it obvious. She was obviously like when he or whatever she was given hormones at a very early age and put through the process. But I think that she was born male, whatever he pronouns. Did you ever think we'd be here, Mary?
No. No,
Like,
oh, I
what
do
the
want to
hell?
share one more thing. Hold on. Just to show how ridiculous this whole thing is becoming. Hold on. Select a window. All right. I just want to read you a paragraph, all right? Out of this. All right. Genderqueer author, all right? So they wrote a book that is not appropriate for young people. Hold on. Where's the paragraph I wanted to share? Hold on. I think it's further down. Oh my gosh. So anyway, this whole thing, they wanted it out of schools because it says that the graphic depictions of some sexual situations they felt was inappropriate for young people. But I want to read you the paragraph where they're trying to read this person's okay, in the wake of Kobabe's win in Virginia, Time spoke with the author and illustrator about air work, the effort to restrict access to air writing, and what make of the
Where?
current
Wait, wait. Hold up.
cultural movement
Time out for 1 second. I'm sorry.
moment.
Because I can't read it. Are you saying air, AI, air,
This is
AI?
Time magazine trying to use somebody's pronouns and they sound like they're having a stroke. All right? So
So
this person's pronouns are obviously air, and I'm not sure what the third one is, but so yeah, they're trying to make sense of this. Time spoke
right
with the
now, okay.
author
Wait,
and
read it again.
illustrator.
Now that I know that, I'm sorry to torture you, but can you read that again now that I know
Sure.
that? Go
In
ahead.
the wake of I'm gonna say Caw Babe's win in Virginia, Time spoke with the author and illustrator about air work, the effort to restrict access to air writing, and what make of the current cultural moment.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Stop. Oh my god. Where's my straitjacket? Do you see what I'm saying? Mental institution? Where's my straitjacket? What, like, what the hell? Oh,
If that's not word salad, I don't know what is. And word salad is when you know somebody's gone like really schizo or really out of their mind or
they're
having a stroke.
trying. We're just like driving us crazy, Mary. It's just like the extra fun. Like, oh, we get to drive some moms crazy. You know what I mean? What they're doing to children. What magazine was that in?
That was in Time magazine, Faye.
Okay. They are, I can only imagine, like, I used to read like Teen Cosmo and like a couple of those magazines. My mom never bought them. I would read them at my friends' houses, like with the
Sure.
quizzes and stuff, you know what I mean? But like I can only imagine what the kids are reading. They're trying to drive us insane. Do they want a population that's just like going and like bumping into walls? That's where we're going.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? I will say, because I am raising children in this world, and I have nieces and friends who have children that are also being raised in this world, I can't just sit back and be like, "You do you, boo,"
Yeah.
because it's gone so far off the reservation of any semblance of anything that makes any kind of sense whatsoever
100%.
that I do have to finally be like, "You know what? Remember when we used to say keep it in the bedroom? Can't we go back there? That was a nicer time." When you left my children and other people's children, and even in some cases your own children, out of this very sexualized, very adult content, that why is that a sweeter time? Because they weren't grooming the youth.
They are.
So
Your sister always said it best. They're obsessed with their parts. They're materialists. The most spiritual, quote unquote, experience they're ever going to have is sex. And you know what I mean? It is. And it's not like the way that, like, procreate with someone you love, having a baby. Like, they have to take it, they've taken it to a level that I can't even imagine. They are their parts. That's why they have to identify. That's why they
oh
need
my
everyone
God.
to identify them. Like, it's mental illness, and I'm not playing. Okay, I'm just not. I don't care.
It's sad. I
It
mean,
is sad.
it's not that I feel like a lot of these you know, we'll just call them groomers.
They are
But
groomers. Call it what it is.
no, I want to call them a
Yeah.
PED, but I don't want the algorithm to hit that. So um
Algorithm.
they're hiding in they found their new sanctuary. And that sanctuary is the drag culture. It's
Yeah.
the LGBTQ culture. I did a video a long time ago about the MAPs, minor attracted persons, and it's guys, the wheels are coming off the wagon. All right. So I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their lives, even though I do have an opinion on that whole thing. All right. But I will say, being the mother, as my family was growing, I feel like homosexual men were the most supportive to me. They were like, if that makes you happy, you do you, type of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas like my friends and some of my family would be like, "Holy crap, you're having another kid?" They weren't on board, but I always got so much support from my gay friends, which I don't have anymore. But
Well, they're not, of course, they're not talked about, just like the I keep the name, the trendy names not sticking, the ones that are going against the trans, that are untransitioning. But there's a lot of homosexual men, especially, that are saying, I'm not involved in this. I never signed up for this. This is
the
kids. Like,
the
my
the
friend Brian
pushback,
would never sign up for this.
you're
Yeah,
absolutely right.
but
The
they're not talking
pushback
about it. Yeah,
against this agenda does fall under the same umbrella of the people detransitioning.
that's the
And
word. That word
yeah,
will not. It's like a new buzzword. It won't like stick in my head. My head's like, Faye,
does
we've
not
had.
compute.
Yeah, my head's like, Faye, too many buzzwords. Like, too much new vocabulary over the last 2 years.
Yeah, too much news
So,
speak.
exactly. All right, I think
Yeah.
that we should do final thoughts, Mary.
Um, I don't know. I honestly, after that whole thing, I don't have a lot of positive to add right now, except the fact that I can tell you I am safe, I am warm, I am fed, and I know that sounds really self-centered, but my 8 children are also that way, and I can only control, not control, but I can only take care of what I'm responsible for, and this is
Right.
only an ill attempt to inform and maybe have a conversation to figure things out. What about you, Faye? Oh God.
It's so great to talk to you, and we almost went 2 hours, and I had a very bad day, and you know, all I can say is, speaking to, some days are better than others. Some days are better than others, and I know tomorrow's a new day, and I know it's not easy for people out there, and I don't mean to come down on anyone if that's how I sound. Everyone's like fighting their own battle. There's really no one knows what to do. But Joe said it best. Joe was, he's like, no one's doing anything. And he goes, Faye, he's like, what do you want people to do? They're out there, they're speaking truth. And at this point, I think that is a positive thing. So I just want to send love and light. I love Wheels, and I'm so glad that he joined
Wheels
us.
is awesome.
He is. And there's so many amazing people out there. Oh, but then I think of like these normies living their life, and it's like, I don't know. But it's crazy.
I
They're just
don't understand. Talk about
right?
I don't even think they have blinders on. I think they're full on hoodwinked. And
Yeah.
that's what you do in falconry. You hoodwink your bird. You put a blinders on a horse, a very functional animal. You hoodwink
Yeah.
a falcon. But hold on, I will say that
Interesting.
sexfind.info was blocked. So isn't
What's
that funny
that?
that we got that on our
We
chat when
got
we
a
were talking
porn
about
troll?
we got our porn troll. We're making the big time.
Unbelievable. Who was it? Freedom Grower said it the best though with the censorship. YouTube, you don't have any problem with porn trolls, do you? You know what I
No,
mean? It's
but
from
I couldn't
YouTube.
put trans in
YouTube
the
wants to.
title. I
Right,
couldn't put
right.
trans in the title because well, actually my husband was the smart one on that. But nope, but the porn trolls here. Check
Yeah,
it
oh
out,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah. Unbelievable. We got our first porn troll. My kids tune in. YouTube, you sickos. But we're all
Oh
on
my
their
gosh, one more
platform.
just on that. One more thing, and I know I've said it before, but with the hypocrisy. So I'm watching a lot of true crime, as you know. Why is it that some of these true crimers, even the true crime and makeup people, which are the ones that I kind of like, because I'm superficial and it's makeup and they always keep it light, the true crime.
What do you mean
But
makeup? Like there's makeup true crime?
no,
Like
like literally, they're going to
someone
be
stole
telling you the
someone's
true crime
mascara?
story. Yeah, they're going to be
Oh,
telling you the true crime story and they're doing their makeup. And in the description, you're going to see what products they used. So, anyway, but I came across one and it
good.
was the most graphic description of it, not only a true crime case, it was a crime against a child. And I'm like, how the hell is YouTube okay with this graphic description of not the SA and murder of a child? But if I go up there and I say the wrong thing, I'm done. So, hypocrisy. Oh, hold on. Snowy, we're about to get off. Last chance.
Snowy. She can jump in. Ceiling Fan Man's on. It's all about
Last
Ceiling Fan
chance,
Man.
sweetheart.
Ceiling Fan Man, we think you're beautiful too.
He is beautiful and
He
his wife
is. And
so
Mrs. Ceiling
fabulous.
Fan Man and their dogs. You know what? He's real.
All right, we're gonna give Snowy a second and a half before we shut it down.
My husband's ignoring my texts. Joe, are you listening? Are you even listening?
He's moved on.
He has. Because Dorian's made I was gonna say Dorian's made the A team. Dorian's varsity. So now my life it revolves around
Oh
varsity
God.
basketball. Right? I know. Right? Right?
That's
Right?
part of the reason why I was so frantic when we got on because my daughter made varsity, not my son. My daughter, it's like I'm not she's would if she was in public school, she would be considered gender non-conforming. But I wanted to find a picture that I have of her at hockey where she's in full goalie gear and her dress is hanging out of her her hockey pants and she's playing a goalie and I remember the guy next to me goes, "Is she wearing a dress?" I was like, "Yeah." Yeah. He's like, "Oh, it's coming out of her goalie pants." She's not gender non-conforming. She's an athlete that identifies as she and her and stop trying to